What is YouTube? How y'all doing? Yeah. I hear a little echo and everything. Check this out. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, man. This is my mentor, man. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦 is my mentor. I was telling people this once before. Sorry, wait a minute. Yeah, make sure y'all got this thing up. Valerie, get off of there. 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗞𝗦, there are channels that I know, and I know these people that got million subscribers and all that type of stuff. But it's the way he run his channel. It's the way he does things. It's the way he does interviews that I really, really like and admire. A lot of the people from my channel go to his channel. I push so many people to his channel and vice versa. And we are here to do one thing, to help people. You know, we spread the news and we run our channels, but we try our best to help people, not hurt people. If you're focusing on hurting people, you're doing it wrong. You're living life wrong. So shout out to Sean and everything. I'm hoping you're gonna hear this. But I got a lot of questions to ask you, man, and everything. And he's a great guy, man. So without any further ado, hey, it says survival. This is what I don't understand, y'all. Excuse me, wait a minute. I'm on the wrong page. Diddy and MKUltra Survivor live. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. We trying all kinds of new stuff. Okay, y'all, let's check this out. Here we go.
Folks, we have got Rocco Fowler with us. Diddy survivor, never told his story on this channel before. Thank you, everybody, for putting questions in already. Thank you for waiting. Thank you, Rocco, for spending this time. 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦 was going to come on, but he's coming on Friday. Get ready for that one. And Rocco, please tell the viewers first. Let's set the table a little bit about you and what your mission is with this.
First of all, my name is Rocco Fowler. I am 37 years old. I feel that a lot of stuff, you don't just meet people, just because of a coincidence. There's reasons to meeting people. I believe in prophetic dreams. How I actually really truly started to wake up to this was not only when Diddy was arrested, but I am what they call the Hamptons club going, back when I was 17 years old in 2006. And I was lured into one of Diddy's SUVs from a club. I was given a shot, and they were like these little vials. Looked like these little vials. And all of a sudden, I didn't know what happened. I just totally blanked completely out. Now, I've suppressed this for years. They say there's the story before a story as well.
I don't know if he's gonna get to it, but Debbie with the 2 cats said, I am also a survivor of MKUltra and SRA. What is MKUltra? Because that's what he got on here. Do you know what that is?
Is the mind control, right? Isn't that like some drug that they give them that mind controls, something like that?
So MKUltra is a drug. Is that what you're saying?
It's a mind control type of thing, like where. Let me.
Is it a drug? What is? Do you know?
I'm about to get it for you.
You about to Google it?
Yeah, because I don't want to give you wrong information.
Yeah, I want facts. What is it? I don't know. Who was I think
Project.
Said, yes, it's mind control. Okay, we know that, but how I can control your mind? Give to the kids. I'm controlling your mind right now. I want somebody to super chat. I'm controlling somebody's mind.
It says, you ready? It says, Project MKUltra was a human experimentation program designed and undertaken by the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken individuals and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture.
Mm.
You want me to go further?
If you want, that's I mean,
the term MK Ultra is a CIA cryptonym. MK is an arbitrary prefix standing for the Office of Technical Service, and Ultra is an arbitrary word out of the dictionary to denominate this project. The program has been widely condemned as a violation of individual rights and an example of the CIA's abuse of power, with critics highlighting its disregard for consent and its corrosive impact on democratic principles. So they did use drugs to mind control people.
Golly.
And that is the United States, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome.
Welcome to the United States. I was wondering if because Ali Carter was talking about stuff like that, and that horse tranquilizer stuff, man. I would love to know more about that. Because I think some people saying that it was addictive also.
The Tusi? That's what you're talking about?
No, I just know horse tranquilizer. I don't know. That's what it's called?
Tusi, I think it's a horse tranquilizer mixed with something else. I think it's a combination of drugs. I'm thinking. I'm not a pharmaceutical historian or professional, so that is way outside my element.
Yeah, looking for her. That was Cassandra. Valerie, that said that she needed to earn. But we're get in touch with each other. Okay, let's keep going.
So the human trafficking, I was almost trafficked in the CPS.
Rocco, we're going to call it transportation. Human transportation.
Pardon. I apologize. I'm just free will, man. That's it's when you have that pain built up inside of you.
Of course.
And you don't know where to turn. You're like, you know what? I'm going to start telling my story. I don't want people to believe me. I don't want anybody to believe me. What I want you to do is I want you to do your research.
Mike, do you want to understand?
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Thank you.
I just making sure. I'm like, I can see
right.
it. They can.
Yeah, you're right. I'm looking at the main screen.
What's really going on underground, and that yes, there are satanic rituals.
See, that's what killed me. This is what's killing me. What's really going down underground, and the part that's really killing me is when people was telling the stories about these tunnels. I'm thinking, yeah, right. Okay. So somebody had a tunnel built under their house. Golly. Because I was trying to build a tunnel in my backyard, but I wasn't trying to do nothing stupid. I was just making a elevated dance floor on the stage. But anyway, I was thinking that she lying or he lying. Ain't no tunnels and all that stuff. And the more I think that it is so many freaking tunnels that is stupid. It is so many YouTube videos and stuff. TK, it's not a drug. What you mean it is not a drug? All right, here we go. All right, let's keep going. And he said,
still don't know where to turn. You're like, you know what? I'm going to start telling my story. I don't want people to believe me. I don't want anybody to believe me. What I want you to do is I want you to do your research and what's really going on underground, and that yes, there are satanic rituals still taking place. And the other thing is it doesn't just have to be celebrities. It can be bankers. It can be police. I've been a target of the police my whole life. That's why I never went and reported any of this stuff. I mean, I remember waking up in a bed next to two other guys, butt naked, but not knowing how the hell I got there.
Rocco. Is the things beeping in your room? Are you all right to mute those?
Yeah, you know what? People need to learn respect. I'm on a show right now. Sorry.
Thanks. It's all right.
I apologize.
What we want to do, it's all right. We're going to take this opportunity to slow you down because we want you to go over this in the order it happened in a slow format, and we want you to set the table, and we want you to explain to the viewers before the Diddy stuff what your life was like, what your aspirations were, that kind of a thing.
Well, okay. I grew up in the Hamptons. So I grew up with a very rich family. My grandfather was a vice president of Local 1298, the road working union. He actually saved a man. That's how he got the job. He never had a college, never had high school, never made it past third grade. You know, I was born in a Confederate state, and Confederacy has a lot to do with what the if you watch the X Factor interview where they speak about this stuff, how like bloodlines and so on and so forth. You know, I was always a target. Always. My whole life seemed to be a target. I seemed to always want to be a loner. You know,
when did that start? When did that first start for you? How young were you?
Well, see, it's like, we're talking about the Diddy stuff? Because I mean,
I want to know about you as a person, your life.
I had an ET contact. Yeah. I had an extraterrestrial experience at 3 years old. My mother remembers me being held down, and they were grays. Now, that started. I was having night terrors, all kinds of stuff was going on. And, you know, I was going to school, ironically, on an air base, preschool. And, you know, there was some MKUltra stuff that took place. Yes, they took me underground. Yes, they questioned me. Yes, they programmed me. They programmed me with different alters, personalities. Where I can go from being one person to being another person. So I have female alters. I have actually one that's in love with Diddy. I'm keeping it real. Like this is how spiritual this stuff gets, you know. But real quick, for those out there, Adria English is definitely telling the truth. I've seen her in my dreams before I even spoke to her. I mean, that's how spiritual this stuff is.
Wow. You hear that? Wow. Wait a minute.
English.
I heard it.
But I never said none of them was lying. I never said that.
I don't know. It's clear that there's abuse going on.
Yeah, all of them. I think. Go ahead. I think all of them getting abused.
Yeah, it's clear that there's some abuse going on somewhere. What exactly, when, where, how it happened, I don't know. You know, was Adria around? I assume that she was around. She has a lot of details from the modeling aspect. So,
right.
I mean, it makes
but
sense.
She has what the problem is, she has a different agenda on telling the reason why she's telling her story, and everybody can see through that. That's what the problem is. It's not that she's lying or telling the truth. Her and that other little girl, they have a different type of agenda for telling their story.
Right. And I mean, it's their story to tell. They can use it whatever way they want to use it. But, you know.
But it ain't working out for them. Poor thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's keep going.
Definitely telling the truth. I've seen her in my dreams before I even spoke to her. I mean, that's how spiritual this stuff is. And I never seen her do any harm to anybody. All I seen was others touching her and you know, she was Diddy's entertainment for others. You understand? And she was abused.
All right, let's go back to you, Rocco, before we get to this stuff. let me just
And I
explain
just
to the
wanted to
viewers.
make that clear before I
Yep.
forgot it,
Thank you.
because
Thank you.
I
Let
want
me just explain a few things to the viewers then. So Rocco, so far, I'm just going to summarize. He said he's from a wealthy family and he's gone through extreme childhood trauma. Now, some people are hip to MKUltra, some people are not hip to MKUltra. MKUltra came from the intelligence agencies. It was a program where they put young people in particular through extreme childhood trauma to manipulate their brains to create alter personalities, to become assassins, or to do all kinds of things that they wouldn't even remember they had done. And this is documented. This is not something that's just out the clear blue.
Bill Clinton.
You look at Candace Owen. She's done loads on MKUltra. We had O'Neill on here, wrote about the Manson family and MKUltra. So let's hear from Rocco then, details of his childhood. Not too graphic, but if you could just give us an idea of what kind of things you went through MKUltra.
Okay, a lot of people think that, when something stops happening in an underground area such as Montauk, there are things that still happen in Montauk. There are still rituals going on. There are still, experiments going. People go missing all the time. If you look up Long Island, New York, Montauk, people go missing. There's unalives all the time. It's crazy. And there has been stories of people said that they have seen people abducted. I mean, literally abducted in front of their eyes. I can't make this up. I can't. It's the truth. It's the reality.
What are your earliest memories?
My earliest memories were, in these programs, what they would do is they would teach you different ways to doing different things. So if they wanted you to be a quote unquote assassin, they would train you with like taking an animal an animal. So if you do that, or bringing you in a room, putting, a blickety on the table, having you pick it up, they pull the bag off the person's head and they tell you, just do it, meaning, yeah. And that's the type of stuff that they would do. That's why so many people went missing, homeless people, kids. We were always warned in school. We were always warned, because in preschool is where they got me. That's where the programming started at 3 years old, because I was very easily able to be split, reprogrammed, and sent out into the world as being a Manchurian candidate. So I would be a target for the rest of my life. I mean, I have pictures of choppers flying at low levels here. Wherever I go, they follow. Vehicles, and now it's even getting more wild. It's because now I'm coming out with the facts of, what they used MKUltra favors in Hollywood. See, a lot of people don't understand MKUltra is going on in Hollywood right in front of your eyes.
Wow. That's crazy. Somebody, I remember being at Montauk, I can't even pronounce half of the stuff y'all be saying, and I refuse to. Golly, somebody had said something like, "Oh, Mike, I just watched Ali live an hour ago. It's quite intriguing." Okay.
Hollywood is the main tool of the intelligence. All right, going back to your childhood, Rocco, you mentioned about going to school. How were you in school? Were you able to settle down?
No. I did not like school.
When you go ahead.
I always felt like there was something off about school. I was called a basement boy. And I had friends that actually remembered being called basement boys. And that would be the ones that would be taken down and questioned and ask all these, like, you know, different questions. How would your family feel if you unalive yourself? And, you know, so they do the unalive programming, you know, in you, and see, like, I could be sitting here and someone could call me right now, and whisper a number into my ear. And all of a sudden that number, if it's a trigger code, it's going to trigger something. It's going to actually trigger something. And then either A, I got to try to get myself out of it, or I act on it. And I have acted on quite a bit of this stuff. I have.
Yeah, we've interviewed people who were housed with 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗓 in California prison. And 𝗟𝗓𝗡𝗓 it appears he was triggered, and he's no recollection of what he did when Bobby Kennedy was assassinated.
You don't have any recollection sometimes. I mean, you know, there's so much. Like I said, my childhood was, it was like, it really, I look at this like, you know, my whole life is a cut up movie. It just, I can't make it up. It's something I can't make up. I'm not ever gonna lie about anything. And I will not co-sign for anything that I feel that God has not put on my heart to speak on.
What were your parents' occupations when you was a kid?
Oh, my father was always the type where he did not want me getting involved in the industry at all. And at one point, I did want to become a model. Now, this was around 17 when this stuff started happening. I'm 37 now, so with Diddy. You know, I was always looking for that. And, you know, it wasn't enough for me to walk into a casting studio in Manhattan. I don't remember the name of it. I was 17 years old now. I went through foster care, but that's a whole nother, that's like, would be a whole episode, and maybe more, because there's so many ins and outs, because unfortunately they were trying to traffic me out of the system, steal me from my mother, use me for a paycheck, which is a cash for kids. There's actually a video online that talks about that, and it happened in the state that I'm currently in.
Yeah, I'm familiar. All right, let's go back, because you keep skipping over very important parts of your story. So your father and your mother, you said they were wealthy.
Well, no, I was always the black sheep. We were the family was wealthy.
Family was wealthy, yeah.
It was like black sheep. I think it was because my mother did not want me to be baptized Catholic, and my family wanted me baptized Catholic. And my mom said, no, he needs to be able to choose his own religion or not. You know, if I don't want to believe, I don't want, you know, but I believe in God today. So that's the only thing that's kept me alive.
Are you able to say where the wealth of your family came from?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Run that. Stocks, bonds, horses.
Probably came from, he said he came from a Confederate state, which probably means that his money came from something
Slavery?
that historically they're not proud of.
Slavery?
Something
Build the slave
like
boat?
Probably. Like, I mean,
okay, all right. I would say it. It ain't like you did it.
Yeah, but
family did it.
Proud of that. That's a stain on your family.
But yeah, but think about it though. What I'm saying is the family done cast you aside, calling you. He called himself the black sheep. So I'm gonna live up to that name. I'm gonna tell. Look here, my family used to do this. Now what? I'm the black sheep. Remember? That's how I would do it. I'm the black sheep. Remember?
be more
So I
of
ain't a part of what they did. They got money, not me. And this how they got it. Man, get back. But see, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, totally understand.
And this is why we can't move ahead. That's what I'm thinking.
Who's kept me alive.
Are you able to say where the wealth of your family came from?
No, I'm not.
Okay, totally understand. All right, so you know you're in this preschool,
and I do understand. I'm like, if you say no, I would never push anybody. That's against my religion. That's against my morals. I'm never going to push anybody. I'm like, yo, man, I'm just going to break it down to you. Tell you if it was me, because I will say F you in a minute. F the family. Y'all don't like me. F y'all.
School situation then, and you've jumped. You've said it ended up where you ended up, foster care. Could you just fill in what happened in the years between, please?
I have blocks of missing time. So there's a lot of blocks at that point. So I think they were actually taking me and using me. And, you know, they, like I said, they could use you and you don't even know that they're using you. You do something, you do the order, and you just end up in your room and you're in front of your laptop or you're laying in your bed and you're like, how did I just get here? And I was just there. It's weird how it works. As I always say, it's like we live in a simulation.
That's
so
crazy.
As you're becoming a teenager then, what memories do you have as you're starting to become a teenager?
Choosing the street life, you know, skipping school, hanging out with the wrong crowds, really wanting to be involved in the industry somehow. But my father was the type of man where he was like, no. And my mother, no, they did not want that at all. But I pushed it.
At what age was foster school?
Well, foster care happened when I moved. When I moved, I got sent to live with my grandparents in New York. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go drink and party and take the car out for a ride. And I decided, I was young. So I was going on, I was 13 going on 14 almost. I got sent to live with my dad because I drove the car through the garage and got out of the car. And, you know, my grandfather was at a union meeting. And when he got back, he said, you're going to live with your father. So I ended up getting sent here to the state of Missouri to live with my dad. It wasn't too long after that. My dad had a job working with a guy, you know. This is what I'm saying. And I told him the night of when he was unalived. I told him the night of that, I said, I don't think it's a good idea you even go in there to pick up anything, go home and sleep. No. And I ended up walking into him laying on the floor, unalived. And I didn't believe he was gone for like almost 2 days, maybe 3 days. And here I was just placed into a foster care system. Now, I was told one thing. They told me that they were going to, that they were going to see if my grandparents wanted me back. And they came out and said they didn't, but they really did, I found out. They wouldn't do the interstate compact paperwork. So they said, we got a cash for kid.
Before we go to that, Rocco, I mean, that's a big thing, getting moved, shuffled around, the family members and the parent unalived. How did that affect you mentally at that point of your life?
Well, I was placed in facilities like Agape. I wasn't at Agape. I was in a place called Missouri Baptist Children's Home, where they were shoving religion down my throat on a constant basis. They'd make you write verses and whatnot out of the Bible over and over and over and over and over again, for days on end. Like this stuff is true. That's why there's, right now I'm currently speaking with lawyers about going after the CPS system.
This interview was done like 2 hours ago.
Wow, so it's done today.
Yeah. That's wild, So shout out to this guy, man. It seemed like to me he telling his truth, he telling his story.
Mm-hmm.
I can clearly tell that he's telling his story to help others, to help other people understand. And it's no lying to his story, because it's a lot of things he didn't have to say just to make yourself look better. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In this state, because they're already under investigation, because they're allowing these kids to go into these abusive boarding schools and stuff, and they become abusive. They physically restrain you if you do not take your medication. That happened to me. You're locked in rooms sometimes for a week, 2 weeks, a month. It's horrible. It's like kids' jail, but it's for the Christian, thing to it.
Let me just explain something to the viewers then as well. So, when I was incarcerated, a lady wrote to me, and she said her kid had been cashed for kids. And basically what happens in these situations is you've got judges getting kickbacks from facilities to send kids to these facilities who don't even belong in these facilities, and sentencing them to long sentences they don't deserve. And they're getting all this money to do so. Judges, you could Google this. Judges have been prosecuted and incarcerated themselves over this cash for kids stuff.
Yeah. So what they would do with me is they would shuffle me around really quick. They never gave me a chance to speak to my mom. My mom tried calling me several times. They would never let me speak to my mom. Some of the punishments were talk about for child labor, pushing wheelbarrows of rocks up a steep hill at a young age, and not feeding you correctly, feeding you the bare minimum. Meanwhile, they're getting all the money for your food and they're sticking it in their pockets. And a lot of times there's pimps, drug dealers. They run these Christian organizations. And the last one I was in before I came home, 3 days before I was 16, someone comes up to me and says to me, one of the kids there, he said, if I was you, I'd get out of here and I'd go as fast as possible, because I overheard one of the staff say that they were going to traffic you out of here next week. And he said, I've seen it happen to 3 other kids since he was there. And I ran. There was somebody that saw another staff member beating the hell out of me in the front yard. I mean, beating me down. The girl says across the street, she screams what are you doing to that kid? That's a kid. Calls me across the street. I remember it. There were 4 cigarettes in the pack. I remember things like that. I have a photographic memory. If I remember something, it's either photographic or I get it through dreams. I don't know. It's a gift. And sometimes it's, to me, I feel it's a gift and a curse, because some of the things that, even with hearing, sometimes, I'll hear real quick Diddy's voice, saying something, whispering something, like it's a voice to skull type thing. But yeah, it's my life has been, after all of the Diddy stuff, I ended up in prison myself.
All right. Wait, Rocco, you're jumping again. We want to just go year by year by year.
Okay.
Right now, you've gone into your teens. This is before the Diddy stuff. What's your life like leading up to the Diddy stuff?
Well, I was always into hanging out with the wrong people. I always wanted to be with the older crowd. Never my age. I always wanted to party, especially after my dad. And you know, it's hard to talk about this stuff. It's just some of it. I don't even want to talk about my dad anymore. So can we please not talk about that anymore?
Yeah, I want to talk about you and how you're developing over the years before the Diddy stuff.
I mean, I was partying. I mean, when I came home out of the foster care system, which my mom had to come all the way to Missouri and steal me back. CPS was not going to give me back. And we had the home shut down, though. We had the home shut down. And they got raided. They had drugs. They were horrible people. Horrible people. They would beat the hell out of me on a regular basis. We're talking about Independence Avenue, Kansas City, Missouri. We're not talking about I mean, they played spin the blickety. That's what they would play. And if it landed on you, you had to go out and do something. Yeah, that's just how it rolled. And if you didn't, next thing you know, you'd have 20 dudes beating you up at once.
So did you have any jobs as a teenager?
I have not been able to have a job due to all the trauma in my life, everything that's happened, because I would just suppress anything. I would never tell anybody. I always suppressed it because I was always threatened. You're going to end up in a psych ward, or, you're going to end up and your family's never going to get you back. Or, they would always throw these threat attacks at me. That's why I would never go to the cops. And personally, I went into a police station the other day to report somebody, and they wouldn't even take the report from me. So, I am a target to them no matter what.
Wow.
They don't like me. I mean,
that's crazy. Can you imagine? Hold up. How can they not take your report? If you reporting something to police, the police must take your report. I think. Am I right?
You would think, but this is the thing. And this is why I said, I think before, he's giving vibes as if he's on drugs, right? I don't know if he's on drugs or if he's not, but he gives those vibes. So then when you have somebody come in that you feel like they're on drugs, they're not going to believe them. And I've said this before, like, people say, oh, well, this person was on drugs and this and that. So does that mean that they're not telling the truth? Does that mean they're not honest? Just because, like it doesn't make any sense, because you're going to believe Puffy and Mr. Sean. We know they've been on drugs.
So what you're saying, I'm thinking what you're saying is, if a police officer comes on the scene, they have a discrepancy to say if they're going to take your report or not.
They have a bias. They could
if you tripping, and even if you got priors, if somebody did something wrong to you, the police officer's job then is to observe and report. They got to write down, I think this person on drugs, but this is what he said happened.
That is their job. But a lot of times people don't know how to advocate for themselves. So, once the policeman gives you pushback, people just kind of leave it alone. But you have to be able to advocate for yourself and then give them pushback. No. You need to do and continue to do that. And I need your supervisor, and I need your supervisor, because it's not as easy as, as they make us to think it is. Because there's a lot of officers out there, they don't want the paperwork, they don't want to do the work, they don't believe you, they have, microaggressions or bias against people based on what they see. They see people every day that do crazy weird stuff, so now they're desensitized. So you got to be able to advocate for yourself and really push and really know, like, if you don't do it, I'm going to your supervisor. If they don't do it, I'm going to their supervisor. I'm writing a letter to the mayor. I'm writing a letter to the council people. Like, sometimes it gets that serious.
Okay. Well, let's keep moving. There we go. That's crazy. He said,
You know, I target to them no matter what. They don't like me. I mean, it's, you know, I was one of those ones that, you know, I had to choose the streets to survive. Because at 17, I was basically, you know, kicked out of my mom's house. So I was on the streets for a very long time. And not on the streets, but I was jumping from house to house. That's when the stuff started. And when I was like 16, 17, I wouldn't listen. I was very rebellious. I got kicked out of school, not even 6 months of being home out of foster care. So it ruined me. It sent me right into street life.
All right, you've set the table brilliantly on what your life was like before this happened with Diddy then. So let's get to that stuff now. When did you first hear about Diddy?
As far as it was suppressed up until that one point, and I already mentioned in the beginning, I'm not going to mention it again, but it came from that dream, but it also came from when he got locked up. Something went off in my mind, and certain things started getting weird for me. Weird energies, spiritual stuff. I started getting visions. I started speaking with other people, psychics. You know, I know people on that side of the table as well, because of the MKUltra. And like I had one woman the other night, you know, praise her, you know, a wonderful person, say to me, you know, I asked God, you know, before I do any type of interviews with anybody, and God gave me the answer that you were telling the truth. It's a sad truth. It's something I don't want to remember. So there will be times that I can and will disassociate for a few seconds, or I might turn into 𝗟𝗓𝗓, which is an author of mine, which is in love with Diddy. It's bizarre. I don't know what that's about. But it messes with me. And it's hard for me to even say that, but that's the truth. But I was a club goer around 17. I started hitting the clubs, CPIs, you know, Bordy Barn in the Hamptons, the Star Room, where I walked out of the Star Room one night and a white SUV pulls up. I didn't know who it was. And I had, I believe it was 4 cigarettes in a pack. I go up to the, you know, out to smoke a cigarette, and I get lured over. Somebody comes up to me and says, there's a party up the street, and, you know, somebody wants to meet you.
Wow. Ginger said that. Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought I was muted. She said the fact that Jaguar knew his name and called him out, and now he's doing interviews. Wow. That's crazy, man. That yeah, Sean is they pulling some vicious people for interviews and stuff. But how do you know Jaguar called his name? I would love for you to tell us that part. Yeah, you seen it in the interview, maybe?
So of course, I'm already half hammered. So I end up going over, getting in the vehicle. Next thing you know, I'm handed that little vial and told, yeah, this is good. I take the shot of it. And it was like, I don't remember nothing other than waking up, and I was in a bed with 2 other guys were in that bed, and they were butt naked. And I didn't know where I was at the time. All I knew was when I got in the vehicle, someone said, we got what did they, I'm trying to get it, I know it's there. It's they said to Diddy, the sex worker that grabbed me up, which I do not remember her name. I just know she had blonde hair, blue eyes, and down to like she was wearing some really expensive type clothing.
Wow, that's Ginger M.I. Wow, that's, see, I keep going back to, and I call all this stuff the horse tranquilizer, or y'all call it something ultra. Whatever it is, I keep going back to the fact that these drugs is in these people's body and they don't understand what they're doing. And now you're telling me, which I believe you, I'm not saying I don't believe you. Jaguar said Rocco Fowler stalked her, and he probably was doing these type of things not knowing he was doing them to try to get Jaguar right, or anybody who he was programmed to get right. He was programmed to get these people. So what I'm finding out is I'm building up in my mind, how can somebody like an R. Kelly, it's too much stuff. You're filming yourself using the bathroom on a girl that's underage, but you think you can't go to jail for that? But I think he was under the influence and under these drugs as well. Who would do that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not surviving R. Kelly and they got me, because what happens is you get into this Illuminati and you get into this thing and you take all this stuff, and when they point you out to say you about to go down, you going down, because they got so much stuff on you. So this is interesting, man, to actually to get this far into all this, man. I'm getting a little too deep in this stuff. So he stalked Jaguar because Jaguar had said his name, and now all of a sudden he out doing interviews, and it's not like Jaguar coached him to say all this stuff. That's crazy.
Down to like she was wearing some really expensive type clothing. And she said to me, the party, like I said, and I got in the vehicle, and all I remember hearing after I took the shot, we got you a target, Diddy. So it became habit forming. Every summer I would go throughout the whole summer. So from that point on up until 2009, I have missing blocks of time. And it seems like right around the summertime. So that's when that was happening. In the summer, when he'd come out to his nice home in the Hamptons that, yes, does have tunnels underneath it. It does. And if it doesn't, they've been closed. They've been sealed off, closed, and nobody will find them. But they're there. They were there. Can't make this up.
How long did this stuff go on for, Rocco?
This went on till about 2008, where I ended up, I was in a really bad place. I had nowhere to go at the time. And I decided I had a drug habit at the time because, after all that trauma, I just really suppressed it. And then I ended up going to prison right after that.
All right, let's go back to when this was happening then. At the very beginning, did you say that you saw Adria English?
I did. And they would be lifting up her dress and the whole nine. It's true. I seen it with my own eyes. I had that prophetic dream the night before we actually spoke. And I knew it was real because I got this gut feeling inside of me. I got this gut feeling. And next thing you know, after I said it, I said black dress to her. And next thing you know, that pops up. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's interesting here. And it's like bright lights. And, you know, in the dream, I remember it was like bright lighting. And, you know, Diddy would be up there and he'd call out at a certain time, you know, all kids, you know, got to go. But not really. The kids were actually down in the basement getting ready for, you know, the next go around. I'll tell you right now, Governor Cuomo. Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. That's why he's quiet. That's why he's being quiet.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow.
What about people like Ali Carter, Jaguar Wright? Did you ever see any of those?
I'm not going to say.
Okay. So how did you manage to get out of this situation? Because it sounds like you were addicted, you were a young person, you were a traumatized person. Sounds like it's going to be very difficult to get out of.
Oh, well, this is, I'm 37 now. And
you changing, Stephanie? Are you switching the, my bad. Were you switching it?
No, I thought you were. You want me to do it?
Yeah. Because I'm going to step out for a second.
All right, I got
Bathroom break. Bathroom break.
All right. Sounds like it's going to be very difficult to get out of.
Oh, well, this is, I'm 37 now, and it still has an impact on my life. After all this stuff had happened, I questioned my own sexuality for a very long time. I still do. Then dealing with that female altar was just, it's horrible sometimes when that comes out. Because the things I say, and it's just, it's bizarre. And I start to speak like a woman and I start to act like a woman. And it's like, it gets so real that, you know, it's like people say there's levels to this spirituality. And, you know, there were a lot of rituals done too. Diddy definitely wanted to be and still wants to be the Antichrist. 100%. 100%. And that's why I believe a lot of MKUltra victims were also involved in these things.
Did you ever come across Lamisha?
I'm not going to speak on that.
Okay. So you're in this situation, and as a young person, what made you stop going back, or did someone rescue you? How did you get out?
I think it was because back right around 2008, that summer, I got locked up.
And what were you doing the day you got locked up?
I robbed a house, and you know, it was because I was one of those, just like I said, I was living on the streets, and you know, I needed to survive, and you know, it happened, and it was my own family members. But here's the other piece. My grandfather wanted me in a long-term treatment center, but guess what? The state decided that they could pick up charges less than 24 hours. And I was already on, you know, paper probation. So, you know, my life went to hell. It just went to hell. And then, you know, I was in prison from, you know, 2009 till I did 4 years altogether in state prison in New York.
Were you in the county jail at first?
I was in Riverhead County. Yes.
What was that like going in there?
I'll tell you, it was horrible. 1 day in jail is enough. 1 day in jail is enough. But it did become somewhat of a comfort zone, which was scary.
Could you explain that?
Once you understand what jail is like, it's it's kind of like if you know the crime, you know the time or whatever, it's kind of like that. So it's like, okay, I know I'm going to have, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and I know I'm going to have a place to shower, and I know I'm going to have a place to sleep. And that's the reality of it. You get comfortable sometimes because everybody's helping you. Oh, he's in jail, so we're going to send him commissary money. We're going to do this. We're going to do that, instead of me trying to work on myself and continuously, suppressing stuff and, I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I just didn't. It was like, kind of like, it was people just, I didn't trust. I didn't trust, and relationships, I couldn't keep relationships.
Did you get clean in jail?
Yes. Yes, I did. Yes. And
So
then I
when
got out and, did the parole as best as I could, and I ended up getting popped for drinking, and I believe that, a lot of the drugs that were given at these parties or these rituals or these whatever, freak off, whatever, it doesn't matter because drugs were given, to incapacitate a person so they can do and have their way with you. That's just how it goes. And I mean, there were local politicians there of Long Island. I mean, there were carpenters there. There were people there that, everybody thinks, oh, it's just Hollywood star. You don't know what was not taking pictures of that was going on.
All right. So as a traumatized person, then you're self-medicating with substances to deal with that trauma, to try and block that out. You're in the jail, you get clean. Now, when people get clean, the trauma, they can see it, can't they? The trauma's there. How did that feel, getting clean? Was it scary?
It was more, I would get the taste of alcohol in my mouth. I would, I would crave it big time. I would crave it. I did manage to get a year clean, without a drink on the streets. But as soon as that year came up, I ended up saying, I'm going to the bar tonight. That's it. I want to party, and I ended up continuously drinking, and it became a habit to where I knew if I didn't quit, and thank goodness that for my two daughters, if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
So at what age did you have your daughters?
My one daughter's 4, and then I have a daughter that's 5, and they actually one of them just went home. I'd say in my 30s.
All right, we've jumped again. Let's just go back to the jail. Did you say you did 4 years?
Yeah, I was in state prison. Yeah.
And how did you
I don't want
change?
to go into the jail thing.
No. I just want to know how you changed as a person over that 4 years.
Well, I mean, I've seen people stabbed. I've seen people, I've seen all kinds of stuff take place in jail, and that it's just, that's what it is. That's what it is, and that's what the environment, what they do in there.
And did that re-traumatize you, or did you come out strengthened because it was?
I came out strengthened. I had a guy, he was actually, I believe, in Maximum magazines. He got in there for something. I don't remember what it was, but he would have me up every day at 5 a.m. in the morning, working out. So that kept me going. And I mean, he wouldn't stop. he'd have the shake ready for me, and he'd be like, let's go to the yard right now and let's work out. That's just how that was. And
did you
I got out, and unfortunately, in the state of New York, when you go to now they have this thing where I don't know if it still exists, but where you have like less than 24 hours and you got to report to a rehab for 28 days, even though I just did all that time without any kind of drugs, but I still got to go through a 28-day program. Then I got to go into their sober house. And then I got to go. It's just, it's to me, I feel it's a double jeopardy.
Did you read much or do education in there?
No, I chose to hang out with bad people. I ended up in SHU for almost a year.
A year locked down.
Almost, yeah. 23-hour lockdown, 7 days a week. Yep.
Did you have your own cell in there?
Yeah, it was a very small cell, and they would shackle you, your hands before you come out of the cell, and then they make you walk forward, or they shackle your legs. They do everything, and that's how you had to get in the shower too.
How did you stay sane in there?
It was a very, 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 very hard process, but I trained my mind. Just doing, push-ups, sit-ups, no reading for me, mainly sleeping.
And then as you got closer to your release, what were your plans?
Well, I had to go to that rehab for 28 days, and then I had to go to a sober house, and then I couldn't leave the sober house for another 30 days. And that had to be okayed. So there was really nothing, I couldn't work because I had to go to program every single day of the week. It was even Saturdays. It was horrible.
And did they ask you to get a job and stuff?
No, what they do is they make you go to social services. And you sit there all day. It's a sad situation, especially when you have family that have, all that, wealth and money. And unfortunately, I am the black sheep. So,
did they support you or did they just drop you?
Well, they don't support me. They don't support my mother. They just don't. They don't like us at all.
All right, so you get out then, you're in these programs, and did you say you fell back on alcohol as self-medication?
Yes.
How long did that last?
Oh, I was doing it the whole time on parole, almost the whole 5 years of parole I had to do. I was smoking weed. I had a parole officer though that he retired, he was a great guy. Like he would tell me, don't, so it was like he would warn me beforehand, he'd be like, I'm going to warn you about this. And okay, so I'd understand and try to mathematically figure out how much time I have to, do it and then stop it so it won't come up on a urinalysis or hair sample, whatever. But hair sample, then you're definitely done for.
All right. So what year did you get released?
I can't remember the date, honestly. I don't even look at that anymore. I'm a stay-at-home dad now. I deal with trauma still. I still wake up from nightmares. I still have that voice to scope thing going on. And, I still question my sanity on a regular basis, but they say when you question your own sanity, you are sane. So there's some part of that you are sane. And that's why I said, I can only go off of what I remember And that's that. I can't go, I'm not going to stretch anything. I'm not going to, no, it's not how we do this.
So when you start to see this Diddy stuff get in the news, how did that affect you?
It just triggered me, and I ended up becoming very abusive towards my significant other. I became very abusive, like verbally. And I just wanted to almost go back to that lifestyle again. I don't know why, you know, I don't know what it was. It was like, but then, like I said, dealing with and finding out different alters with different psychics, and finding out that I have this one female alter, and that female alter sometimes says I mean, I have friends that have heard it, and they're like, don't, you know, like, and I'm like, well, I can't help it. You know, it just, sometimes if she wants to come out, she's going to come out. That just means she's, you know, wants to introduce herself. That's all.
When you got the desire to go back to the lifestyle, how did you stop yourself from doing so?
Well, see, I came back. I went to a funeral back in 2020. And, you know, this is when it first started with all the arguments and stuff. It was going on, but it got worse when the Diddy stuff came out. It got worse. It was almost like maybe a trigger that triggered something in me to behave like that. I don't know, because I guess I was stressing, and you know, I wasn't able to see my children at that time. And it's just, it's something I don't want to believe. I'm telling you, I don't, it's something I don't want to believe. I don't want to remember being fed dog food, being in a dog cage, being in rituals with, you know, inverted pentagrams, laying on them, and sacrificial rituals, like also, you know, soul swapping, stuff like that. Stuff being done to your body that, you know, it takes a toll, and it's very scary.
Yeah, and we appreciate, man, because I'm sure you're reliving some of this when you're talking about this.
Oh yeah, I'm living it. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely, I am.
When the altar stuff, when did that start?
Well, I've been dealing with altars since 2014, and I believe that was when the whole MKUltra opened up. That started to open up, and then little by little by little, like I said, things come back later on in life. And it's, you wonder why you made all these poor decisions, you know, and I don't know why I kept going back to that club and, you know, re-entering that vehicle. You know, I don't know. I guess it was, maybe, I'm not remembering, but, you know, yeah, there were definitely, Diddy would send sex workers into clubs. Especially, you know, this club was right in East Hampton. It's no longer there, where his home is. Well, he ain't gonna be there anymore. That's for sure. No.
So Mac Lee, one of the viewers, is asking, when this Diddy stuff hit the news, you know, did you go to the police about any of this?
Once again, anytime I go to the police, I have problems. I have people on this internet right now that tried to step into my life, and I believe that they are paid oppositions. I definitely do, because they have stolen my identity. They have used my identity. They have made T-shirts. They have sent, you know, not my type of, you know, partner, meaning to my home off of websites. They've created grinder accounts in my name. These people are very, very horrible people. And they know exactly who they are. And I'm not even going to put their name out there, but they know I'm coming for them. And, I'm just going to make it clear for the audience. I am not a PDF file. That's number one. Number two, I do not know who the individual, we'll just say the Jane Doe, say that I said something or whatever, and I'm going to unalive. And I mean, come on. No. And that's a huge allegation.
And they just attach it.
PDF
they attach that to anyone whose reputation they want to destroy, because they know even if they can't prove it, that it's gonna hang over that person. Cloud is gonna hang over that person. All right. So Angelique is asking, what is soul swapping?
It's when your soul leaves your body, goes to another body, or you get their soul. It jumps to you. I mean, you can have walk-ins. I mean, that's what I mean. Spirits could just walk into your body, or it's when you're dealing with heavy-duty witchcraft like that, you're dealing with some serious business that I warn people to just be careful. Be very careful with that, because I try not to astral project anymore, because it's not good for your body to do it all the time. It's not.
Yeah. So you're getting asked then, if the police, won't help you, are you still able to take legal action against Diddy?
I'm going to do whatever God's will is for me to do. And that's, that. There's nothing else I can do. I definitely believe that I will get justice one way or another, because regardless, he knows what he's done, and he's done it to countless people. And, he's scared now. And I don't fear. I don't fear. I've had threats. I've gotten messages. And, I'm not going to mention people's names, because I have respect now. I'm learning, I got to keep myself cool, calm, and collected, and allow others to say whatever they want to say, because at the end of the day, they don't live with me. They don't eat at my table. They don't hang out with me and walk down the street, So to me, people's opinions, we all have them.
So Shane has joined us, and Shane, let me just bring you up to speed. So Rocco has told his story excellently. He's took us through the complete timeline of his life, and we really appreciate, him getting into all of the details of that. And some of it, I'm sure, has brought up a bit of trauma. And we've got the viewer questions are coming in now. But let me just tell the viewers that Shane has been speaking to Rocco recently, and they've got this thing going, and that Rocco's come on the channel through Shane. And before we start putting up the rest of these viewer questions, because tons have come in, Shane, is there anything you would like to say?
Oh Lord,
you sound like me.
I'm gonna let y'all know this Kentucky Fried Chicken. I had to come and just pause it for a second at least. Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
You just
all right,
eat,
y'all.
eating.
Huh?
You just got finished eating. You sound like you full.
Yeah, okay. I just got finished eating. And that's
Okay.
inhaling. I just finished exhaling. Kentucky Fried Chicken and ran through me, finger licking good. Oh, that's too. What do they say? TMI. Oh Lord Jesus. I think 3 chickens came out instead of 1. Hey y'all. Hey Amy. Good God Almighty, boy. Do not ask to use my restroom. I'm gonna let y'all know that. Here we go.
Take the Rocco while we're live.
Yeah, one thing he and I talked a little bit. We didn't really get too deep into it because I wanted to save everything for the show. And you may have already
took the video down.
What age did everything start when you ended up in the Diddy verse?
The Diddy Bears. Well, I mean, when I was about 17 years old, it started the summers because I found out about
Amy,
the
I'm gonna make
clubs and fake IDs. And I mean, at this time it was weird. I didn't understand why at the clubs they would like take our cell phones.
Right.
So when people ask, oh, why don't you have pictures? Well, my phone was missing.
Yeah, and a lot of times, even in a nightclub or something like that, you're not going to think. A lot of people do leave their phones even in their cars and everything to just make sure they don't get stolen. Yeah, because I wondered about that too. It's like definitely taking them for a reason, and to use the excuse of, well, some of them will even tell you that they'll put policy on the door that no pictures are taken because of, I guess, women wearing certain types of clothes. They don't want them doing little ways around with sneaking cell phone pictures and whatnot. So, okay. And the other thing I thought about too, did you guys get in talking about the tunnels that were in the Hamptons?
Oh, they're all throughout the Hamptons.
Yeah, you told me that on the phone.
Any hospital, any post office, any police station, there is an entrance to tunnel areas all throughout. Even in Manhattan, you have Central Park. There's something going on below Central Park. A lot of people don't understand that there's a lot of stuff going on underground for real, and it is going on.
Now, are you talking like utility tunnels that they use to get to the water pipes and gas mains and all that? Or are you talking like separate individual and only utilized in the neighborhoods to transport people back and forth type of tunnels?
Well, I mean, there was a house out in Montauk, and it was the house where Seinfeld episode was something, with the Seinfeld episode.
Right.
There. And there was supposedly a entrance to the tunnels underneath that house.
Wow.
So you never know where it's going to happen. And it doesn't just happen in like broad open places. Like, okay, Camp Hero is a debunked, air base, but what could really be going on there when you don't know? I mean, I've always been on that place, and I have found some weird stuff.
Well, and you're right too. I mean, a lot of people you think about the military in general, that type of thing wouldn't typically happen. But again, that too is going to be another, a mask to cover up the face as far as what's actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing we've talked about with some other guests too. Now you are familiar again with Diddy, of course. Were you ever? Now we talked about this on the phone too, as far as ritual type scenarios. I mean, like what we talked about with the Beyonce for one too. I think you said that she was a witch of some sort and had seen different things with her too.
Well, I remember Laura London and Diddy doing some type of ritual on me.
Can you get into that a little bit? Or no?
I really can't right now.
Okay.
That's
cool.
Yeah. I do remember that though. I do.
Well, that was the next question too. I mean, with the amount of trauma that you suffered throughout that period of time, do you still have flashbacks and things like that?
Oh yeah.
Still to this day.
Yeah, where sometimes I can't breathe, like all of a sudden out of nowhere, I feel like I'm being either choked, or I even have it where I feel in my bottom area, like I'll wake up sometimes and it'll feel like I was actually,
right. Yeah, but like you had been through it all over again.
Yes. So psychosomatic. Yes, very much so. Psychosomatic trauma.
Now, I don't know much about your family life, and I'm not going to go too deep into it. Just but one question: as far as when you were being mistreated by these people, was your family aware of it? Did you bring them into it to get help, or were you too worried that you couldn't do that?
Well, Diddy had a thing with and all of his associates. And, sometimes it's like that Blair where the face is covered, but that's the mind control.
That's on the MK Ultra side of things, right?
Yeah, so there's those side effects too.
Now, is that something that's brought on typically by medication, hypnosis, or how does that work?
Well, I have done hypnosis, and honestly, I stopped doing hypnosis because it was giving me migraines, and it just wasn't beneficial for me, and it actually kind of traumatized me even more.
See, I had a article I'd read in one of the science magazines a long time ago, and it stuck with me because I'd seen so many, your Dr. Phil TV shows, different Oprah shows, and all that do hypnosis on the air, but they never tell you. I mean, it's supposed to take you back so you can go through these memories, and it's supposed to help. But somebody who's been through trauma like you, it sounds like it literally just brought it right back to the surface and didn't give you a damn second's worth of freedom.
Right, exactly. And it's like sometimes I'll have these bleed throughs, right? And then I'll go to pick the pen up, and because of the trauma of having to write all that stuff out when I was in the foster care system, I have a very hard time writing things down.
Sounds like anything can trigger you, even on the smallest of levels. If it reminds you of any small circumstance when you were in their care, it just continues to berate you and beat up on you.
Yes, yeah.
Wow.
It's and the other thing with Diddy is it's all a cult thing. A lot of it's a cult thing.
Wow.
Like witching hour is when I really have, spirit. I still get spiritually attacked. And I probably will get threats after this show. I'm sure.
So what, I mean, is it like a demon type scenario where you're approached in your sleep, or
so I have had people ride up on me. I have people driving up, playing loud music, right in front of my windows. I have the same SUV. I've had, people just show up to my house and, leave letters that they own me and this and that. Like it can get very topsy-turvy.
Gotcha. So we got a question from Madhead Jane. Says, happy 25, Rocco. Do you know anything about the cloning center?
I don't. I honestly don't. I have been told by other people in other countries that they have seen a clone of me, which I believe every one of us have a clone. I definitely do.
See, that's the only thing I think of. I can't think of there being two of me. I'm so good looking, it just blows my mind. So I can't imagine there being two clones that are that handsome of a fella. I'm just kidding.
No.
So you've got where harmonics used to traumatize you, is like a harmonica, playing music, rhythmic string music, or anything like that?
I cannot listen. I have a very hard time listening to the stuff like Beethoven and stuff like that. I have a very hard time with.
Yeah, so I had heard too, that they'll use different string instruments,
and they'll add Metallica, and they'll add different like music, like rock, and that classical music.
Yeah, anything with a rhythmic beat and a solid string section that can achieve different octaves, it's enough to actually throw you into a kind of a trance, and then that's when you can follow up with the excuse me, with the programming or whatnot, or getting put under. Now, one thing I wanted to, and I was just thinking of this too. What decade was your time with all this in? When was that?
I'm 37 now.
So 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, I was 3 years old when I started dealing with
3 years old.
Thank you. So yeah, the chat is going off on this guy, and I apologize. I was paying attention, but then I had to get some information for Murph. So basically, some people believe him, some people don't believe him. So my question is, because I don't it's clear that there's something going on, right? It's clear there's something going on. I don't know if anyone noticed his fingertips in the beginning. His 3 fingertips were stained, and I was thinking that could be a drug usage stain. I'm not sure. And anytime drugs is introduced, I'm not saying that someone's not telling the truth, but it becomes cloudy in my mind because you're not really quite sure what is, how to kind of sort it out. But, I do believe that drug use doesn't mean that you're necessarily lying, right? I'm not sure with him yet. I've been doing a couple of different things, going through the chat and everything at one time. But I definitely think that he's been through something. He's definitely been through something. And the question that I posed to the chat, I guess, is this. Do you not believe him because of the reason why he's telling the story? Like, if you feel like he's telling the story for monetary gain only and not to help anybody else, is that the reason why you don't believe him? Or do you not believe him because you just don't believe him? Because I think we need to realize that there are going to be some people out here that are just telling their story because they just want to get paid to tell their story. That might be just it. They really have no interest in taking it beyond that. So are we looking at it like, he's lying because he's not trying, or are we looking at it as if he's not trying to help someone and that's why we don't believe him, or we don't believe him because we just don't believe him and he's just telling his story to maybe monetize himself? So that's all I just wanted to ask. Thank you, Mike.
All right. Let's continue, I guess.
Yeah. When I had my first ET contact. Well, I was 3 years old when I
programming or whatnot, or getting put under. Now, one thing I wanted to, and I was just thinking of this too. What decade was your time with all this in? When was that?
37 now.
So 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, I was 3 years old when I started dealing with
3 years old?
Yeah, when I had my first ET contact.
So with that in mind, I mean, did you ever, or were you ever exposed to like the Bohemian Grove?
I mean, those are the types of rituals that take place right out in Long Island. I mean, I'm telling you, if you do your research on Long Island, New York, you will find a lot of witchcraft and stuff that has gone on out there that is just out of this world.
See, I tell you, my old boss, where I worked before I got ill, he and his family are from Long Island, and his daughter now is 21, and she went through a period a few years back of contacting friends in Long Island, and they were doing witchcraft. And she literally just changed from a straight A student, went to a Christian school, to all black clothes, just going crazy, listening to a certain kind of music. And then within a matter of months, she tried to hurt herself, and they got her therapy and everything, and she's back to her old self. But it was just amazing. My old boss was like, he said it was weeks. I mean, it was just like somebody had completely taken my daughter and given me back somebody different.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know there's a lot of people think that could happen. So there's very possibility it could. So let's see what we got, guys. Scrolling, looking for a question. My eyeball is small.
So Adil is asking if Rocco finds, do you find speaking in public therapeutic?
Yeah, I do find it therapeutic. And also it's not just for me. It's so other survivors will come forward and know that I hear you, survivor. I see you, survivor, and I love you, survivor. Know that. And we're gonna make it.
So we got Sammy. It looks like Sammy says, can MKUltra be portrayed as schizophrenia with the multiple personalities? And she says she's new. He or she said, I'm sorry, I can't see the picture of Sammy. If you're male or female, I correct myself. I'm new to the MKUltra. This poor guy has been through the mill.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So what she's saying is like if when you go through that, I guess it makes you think and act a certain way as if schizophrenia would. So do you think that they portray it like that?
Literally turn into that, like that, whatever the altar is, like I have a Tommy altar and he's a very angry altar, but they're like childlike altars that were created to try to, make me either a self-destruct or omega. Yeah, basically omega, the all and end. You know what I mean? Like that's and that's what I believe with Hollywood is that's huge with Hollywood. It's a tactic they use, I feel like.
Now, do you think with that in mind, I mean, you got to think a lot of these different types of programs and such, do you think that it starts with the government and works its way down into Hollywood and everywhere that spreads out that way, or do you think it just starts at home and then
I believe
on a ritual or on a religious level?
Well, I believe it's a lot deeper, darker, and sinister than the government.
Wow, that's hard to believe.
Who rules this planet? Seriously.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's very true. Very, very true.
Question from Sammy: how does someone overcome the effects of MK Ultra? When does it stop having a hold over you?
It's a timely thing. It's something I will deal with for the rest of my life. But there's different ways to doing it. Change a thought, or try to do something different with myself, move a muscle, or get up and do something. Hitting the punching bag helps for me. Getting anger out, it really helps.
Yeah, well, you're not bottling it in that way, and you can get the aggression out too. And from the physical aspect, it'll at least exhaust you, maybe even to the point where you sleep. I mean, do you sleep okay when you finally do get to sleep?
Yes. Now, a little bit. I mean, I still have nightmares, but since some real wonderful people have come into my life, and they've been praying. There's been a lot of protection. I must say, I've gotten a lot closer to God here lately because, I was straying away. I really was, and I was falling into a trap once again. They were trying to, they don't want me to speak. They definitely don't want me to speak at all. Like I said, I can go to the store and be wearing a certain color and somebody will start an argument with me. So it's no matter where you go, somebody's watching. It's also because I do a lot of research and then, bam, when I start talking about it, I did a YouTube video a few years back around 2014 at Camp Hero. It was up on YouTube for 2 days and it was gone. They deleted it.
Wow. That's crazy, man. I tell you, it's rough. That's for sure.
You got a question from Pamela.
Sorry, I was sorry.
What would you like to do with your future, and are you getting help with your frequency?
I see my future being bright. Utilize my trauma and turn my trauma in from a negative to a positive. And I want to help children. That's one thing I definitely want to do. I'm all about helping the kids. Because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about the children that are suffering right now.
Amen to that. Amen.
Well, Scholl is asking if you can spot immediately another MK Ultra survivor. And if you did spot another MK Ultra survivor, would you approach them?
It depends on their energy. It depends on if it's a positive connection or it's a setup. Because sometimes they will do that. They will try to send somebody at you. And I mean, you know, it could just be some willy-nilly. And they're the type of people where they just pay money for anything, you know, like it don't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
One question I had that was kind of lingering back here. James Burt asked, says, why haven't you sought out Busby, the victim's attorney?
Well, actually, the weirdest part is I called Busby, and Busby said that I already had an attorney, not him himself, but one of the, I guess, secretaries had contacted me and said, yeah, but they couldn't give me the name. They wouldn't give me the name of this attorney. But
wow. Jeez.
You know, I'm not surprised though. I can't even get my medical records out of the foster care. This is what I mean. It's one target after another target after another target after another. It's going to be the rest of my life.
And it seems like it's like anything. And you were telling me different things earlier today. And guys, if you can't hear me, I apologize. I'm still on an iPad. I will be getting a microphone this week, so bear with me. But can the MKUltra kill switch get turned off through hypnosis? Do you believe that?
I don't know because I never asked.
Well, let me rephrase it to it might come across different this way. Say if you were triggered, if whatever mechanism they use to put you in, say, a hypnotic mode, the kill switch that basically turns it off. That's what they're referring to.
Oh no,
it can be turned off like that.
No.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
So we got Lady Warrior asked, do they place implants in those who are victims of MKUltra?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Now I'm curious, what type of implants is she referring to? Like control implants,
I mean,
information technology, or
there's so many different kinds. It's like, they can implant you where, yeah, your head starts. It's messed up what they can do.
It's amazing. It's amazing in some respect. I mean, as messed up as it is, it's like, I'm 52 and I consider myself a little bit above half stupid. But I like to learn a range of things, and I never have heard of any of this until I joined Sean's channel. It's crazy. So we got Anna Linval says, what was your focus training at MKUltra? She says, sorry she missed the starting if it's a repeat.
I'd rather just not really answer any more questions about MKUltra and save that for a time where I can sit down and I can meditate on certain things, because
okay, and you can bring more information.
I was with the crew of Max Spears, James Casbolt. I was in that mix, which they at the was calling it super soldiers. So, but a lot of people are like, oh,
okay. How much time we have? Okay. I don't know if we're getting trolls in here or not, but we've just gotten hit with a bunch of just comments about this guy on the screen. You don't have to believe him. That's fine. Nobody says that you have to, but we're getting a lot of people chatting it up that I haven't seen before. So I'm not sure if these are trolls and they just followed in. But if you are a troll, let me just address this one thing. If you decide to come in and troll against somebody, that doesn't help people to not believe them. That makes people want to look at them a little bit closer. So you might want to rethink your plan. Because anytime you come in and start spamming the chat with all types of crazy stuff, it kind of doesn't work in the favor that you want it to work in.
Well, yeah, they saying that they got proof and everything.
Yeah, it's a couple of them that they came in all at the same time. So that's why I'm like,
Well, y'all welcome to stay. Keep the
right,
numbers up.
Getting our numbers up, but whatever.
Yeah.
So, but it at the end of the day, we're watching this video, we're getting more information. Everyone in this channel is a critical thinker. They can think for themselves, take the information, and make their own judgments on what they believe. So, you know, please be respectful to our subscribers if you are not one.
Michelle said, "Yeah, I noticed that too."
I just needed to address that.
Yeah, we just
Super soldier, that's cool. No, it's not cool, because what they try to get people to do to one another. But
Well, it makes sense. I mean, a lot of people see what they see on TV, and it looks neat. It looks, wild, adventurous, and all that. So I guess until you face the music every morning and end up in that situation, it is, I guess, adventurous. So we got Miss Donuts says, "Do you think the dreams are flashbacks?"
no, I think the dreams are just, I'm reliving it through a dream state. And it's more vivid in that dream state.
Yeah, because usually your flashbacks are quick.
Yeah, they're quick, or it's
nondescript, blurry. Right. So we got M13, I think this is MI13. Can you recall any positive experiences with angels or positive beings?
Honestly, no, I can't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So basically Diddy is a real factual demon that wants to be the Antichrist. Is that what you're saying?
100%.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
I think he's a shape-shifting reptilian as well as Oprah Winfrey.
I tell you, it's neat, and that's neat's still a bad word. It's intriguing now when you've got cameras that are so technically advanced that they can take and zoom across the stadium and pick up somebody blinking their eye and see an eye within an eye. It's really crazy to think that, but when you see Diddy, there's many pictures of him I've seen where they've showed side profile pictures, just different angles that he didn't look human.
No.
So Rocco, have you distanced yourself from those who were in your life with that lifestyle? I had to cut ties with everyone.
Well, I have had quite a few.
Well, we're all right. Everybody keeps saying, please check the proof. Where's the proof? How can we find the proof? I would love to know.
Steph said she's going to look some stuff up. I know Donahue has looked some stuff up. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he was looking some stuff up too. I mean, we're just putting the information out here. We're not taking anybody's side, but at the end of the day, everybody can critically think for themselves. That's what we expect for people to do. We're not trying to spoon feed anyone anything. So,
right.
Don't have to keep asking us to look it up. If they feel like they want to look it up, they'll look it up. If not, then it is what it is. You said what you need to say. You don't need to say
search the name real fast. I'll look it up.
It just a wave came in here. So I'm watching the numbers and I'm watching the chat and I'm like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah. Hey, Diggy.
It was very quiet in here for the pretty much most of it. So it's like, what?
Yeah, we're not backing him up. We're just listening to his story. We're not backing him.
Right. We're listening to what he has to say.
Yeah. I don't like this picture.
Yeah.
Just search this name on YouTube. Okay. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
One of my friends, he was going through, trauma, and he unalived himself. Yeah, so I don't in New York, I don't think I even have any more friends in New York. Everybody I know, there might be a few out there, but I don't talk to people out there. I don't even like New York. I don't want nothing to do with it. It brought on all this trauma, not only there where I'm at as well, but it's much better for me here.
Well, it's like, that would be akin to if you were involved in a unaliving, homicide or something like that, and you did it or you were part of it, and then you have to turn around and get up and go back there every day. Or you go back to the same house and live in the same house every day. So if you don't remove yourself from that environment, it's like you're never going to leave that dream. You're never going to get out of that situation. It's just going to encircle you forever, So, okay, says Sega Frog says, Rocco, are you able to cry sometimes, or does the pain seem stuck in you? In other words, are you able to bring it up and get it out? Says crying is normally a sign that you're making some progress through this very difficult time for yourself. So, in other words, are you able to let go, just boil down and just ball down?
I do.
Out of you?
Oh, I do. I do.
Yeah,
I do.
Sometimes if you don't, you'll blow up. Literally. I mean,
it just suddenly comes. Like sometimes
it just hits you like a fist in the back of the head.
Yeah, it could be a song. Sometimes it could be. It'll just release it, but it feels good once it's released.
Right, it's a quick trigger mechanism. So, Rocco, have you lost trust in people now? And should Mary J. Blige be scared? And if so, how much should she be scared?
I think everybody in the industry that took part in this satanic occult, that's trying to rule the world, that is going to be taken down one by one. I can already see it coming. God is in charge, and God is righteously angry, and God always wins.
Nice. So we got Rocco. Is there any protection, spiritually or physical, that can be sent to the missing children in captive? And how are you, sweetheart? Sweetheart's from her, buddy. That's not me.
Well, I mean, I do at times, like, I sit there and I wonder about these kids that are missing.
Right.
And when I see, like, I have like the Amber Alert on my phone at all times.
Yeah, so do I.
And the amount of children that go missing, it's crazy.
Yeah, I tell you where I am, it's not that bad. I mean, as far as like if you utilize the Amber Alert, which if you guys aren't familiar with the Amber Alert, to dumb it down, is basically an alert system through your public broadcasting system that if a child goes missing, they'll put it up on all the traffic billboards, over your cell phones, over the radio. When it hits everybody's phones in this area. And I don't know if it's nationwide or not, but it's an amazing system. And then the nicest part about it is they'll also send an alert back out when that child's been found. So it's pretty nice to see that. So, does the name Spunky mean anything to you?
I'm not. What
I don't know if you had an ex-girlfriend chopping after you, man. You gotta be careful these days. All right, Rocco. So did Rocco ever say that? Were you ever abducted yourself?
Not that I can recall.
I
might have been
mind controlled and then brought back, something like that.
Yeah, that very well could have happened.
Anja.
Absolutely,
I have probably wouldn't know, right?
Your marks on me.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So.
Okay, we already asked this question. He said no on that one about the cloning centers. So that was Jane. All right. So, how did you discover, or did you, for one? I mean, I know you said you heard about them. Did you actually ever discover any tunnels where you were in the Hamptons? Come across them yourself?
I was in those tunnels. Diddy brought me in those tunnels, and there were cages.
So now you say cages.
They have dog cages, literal dog cages.
So did they have?
He was a sick, sadistic. The things he did is.
Well, and like with the tunnels, I mean, I know they interconnect between the properties, but when you go down there in the underground pipes and things like that, did they have rooms that were cordoned off where they would keep the dog pens, or did they just leave them out in the tunnels like it was literally a dog?
I remember them being out in the tunnels, like,
wow.
And it was horrible.
And I cannot imagine if you've been through
know,
that. I really
you know,
give you
a lot of these, they didn't care. Like, they didn't care. It was just horrible.
treating you like a dog is what it amounts to.
Yeah. Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Treat you, beat you, put you in a cage.
Yep.
I mean, that's just
Yep.
that's wild. Let's see. Sarsar Pink says, do you think that your visualizing gift is a result of the ET interaction, and she is sending light and love to you? Or I'm sorry, yeah, love and light to you. So do you think the visualizing gift is a result of the ET interaction?
It could be numerous things. It could have been my programming. And like I said, what I did mainly is I've started deprogramming to me is a lifetime process. You got to deprogram all the time. So like when I deprogram, I turn the negative programming into a positive programming.
Now, I missed a little bit of you earlier because I was doing some things, getting food out for dinner.
Yes, I have been stalked. Plenty of times I've been stalked. Absolutely.
Well, what is visualizing anyway? I missed that part earlier.
Well, like I visualize things, like I can see things before it actually happens.
Okay, like predicting. Okay, I got you. Yeah, but you're actually, instead of it just being a thought in your mind, it's something you can.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see
wow.
it. I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, our Welsh Gold says, how do you personally trust or verify a safe person from a mole or a plant? How do you separate one from the other?
Well, for one, this would be the first interview I've ever done talking about any of the Diddy stuff. I have done interviews talking about, Montauk and the experiments and that stuff and ETs, but I'm just trying to, one step at a time with me. That's it. One step at a time.
I mean, I tell you what, I mean, the length of time I've been working with Sean, it amazes me the amount of people that have a story, whether it be your type with the entertainer, Diddy, and then you've got the MKUltra and how they're tying together with the Diddy victims, your Bohemian Grove. And it's like, you go on YouTube, there's so many people that have stories, and you get a few people between that they're not real. But like you, I mean, when you're rolling your story, man, it's like if you're not, then you're a damn good actor,
No, I have no reason. Like I said, and you know what? I don't want. That's one thing. Like I always say, like the Diddy stuff, like having that altar that is in love with Diddy, and it's a female altar, and I'm a male, so and when it comes out, sometimes. Like my friend that came out the other day and it started talking about, I don't even want to go into it, but it's like,
right.
It was not good at all. It was not good at all.
Alrighty. So, I'm sorry. Sophia O says, wasn't there some sort of shape-shifting creature created at Montauk?
No, that was just some animal that was, that was, that could have washed up from Plum Island, which is near the Montauk area. I don't know, but I don't think it was anything alien-wise.
Says, do you access nature more now?
I try to as much as I can, but like living in a suburban town, there's not really that much.
You get the individual tree through 3 blocks of concrete and asphalt. So we got any thoughts on viral, or that's supposed to be viral reptilian aliens, or AKA demons? Vril, I may be saying that wrong.
Yeah, I'm not. Reptilians, I said it before. I believe that a lot of these celebrities, politicians, I believe a lot of them are shape-shifting reptilians, for sure.
Well, do you think they're one and the same? Do you think it's a reptilian is the same as a demon, or is it that we have 2 different creatures there?
Oh, I mean, you could be demonically possessed. There's all different kinds of things. But a reptilian is different. It's when they literally turn in and shapeshift into like a lizard person.
Yeah, I got you.
So, yeah.
So, Rocco, is there any way protection, spiritual or physical, can be sent to the miss? I think we did this one earlier too.
Yeah, we did.
Guys, and that's one thing we had talked about on one of the guests the other night, that ladies like Miss Asbria and Miss Beverly, and we have several of them that do come into the chat. They're the ones that you will want to ask that question to, because they do it. And on some of her other streams, I mean, she's read me right out of the blue, different people. When things come to her, she will do her thing. So definitely, you know, maybe go on Miss Bev's videos and leave a comment, and she may get back to you. But they could probably answer that better. So,
Right.
So Rocco, are you allowed to laugh anymore? And are there things in life that bring you joy now?
Oh yeah, I had my two beautiful little girls. Like I said,
There you go.
That's you know, I'm a rich man. I have two girls.
Congratulations. So, how old are they?
4 and 5.
Oh man, they're good times. My son is fostering a 2 and a 3-year-old set of brothers, and it's fun, that's for sure. And of course, Sean's got this Zigster who's just hit her 1 year and 4-month mark. His son, little cute little guy. And Ron, the other host, you met him. He's got a daughter that's only the day before Christmas old. So pretty good year. It says, do you have support and a place that you feel safe to go?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was right when I read that too. I mean, throughout all this, were you ever put in a position where you had to basically stay on the run and hide, or were you secure enough in where you were staying at that you didn't have to keep running?
Well, I was running from my own self for a very long time, not facing anything, not talking about it. So
you were your own worst enemy at that time.
At one point I was, yeah, instead of trying to get help. And, you know, I thought that everybody was, you know, I was way too friendly.
And you may have said this earlier before I got back there, but what was the final straw? I mean, what finally brought you out of that whole predicament that you were in, between being mistreated as a kid and teenager? I mean, because you were almost a man at that point, towards the end. I mean, what finally brought you out of that? Did you remove yourself from that situation, or were the police involved? Or, I mean, and you can shorten it. I mean, really, how did you get out of the situation you were in?
Pretty much like I just cut everybody off.
So they didn't come after you? They didn't try to keep in
touch
with you?
They tried to come after me.
Okay.
They got jumped, beat up several times.
So it's almost like trying to be taken out of a gang that they always tell you never get out. You have to get beat out. So that's kind of
correct.
All right, gotcha. Okay. So Nana Psychoville, says, Rock, just to check, how are you? But also, do you know anything about Tahoe Truckee at all? Tahoe Truckee.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. So Mojiji says, do you believe celebrity kids were used as lures on top of them allegedly being victimized themselves in the same horrible ways? So not only were they lures, they were also victims. And she said, you don't have to.
I mean, look what Usher did. You know, with Dustin. You know what I mean? It boils down to what they call a handler. You know.
Okay.
I feel that way. I definitely do.
Let's see. When abducting, Annalise says, when abducting children, do they look for a particular bloodline, economic bracket, troubled, broken families, can't read that, abused children? So, are typically abused children, do they just take anybody they want?
Generationally.
Oh, generational.
Yeah, generational.
I couldn't use that word to save my tail.
Yeah.
It's generational.
Okay. So you don't, I mean, really bloodlines don't have like family relatives ancestors or anything like that?
A light worker. I don't know if I want to call it a light worker, a warrior of Christ, though. Yeah, for sure.
Now, what is a light worker? What's the definition of that?
Oh, I never really researched that deep.
Okay. So, Rocky, a lighthearted question. Do you skate and can you kickflip? Say strong, pal, we love you.
I used to be able
look,
to
man.
skate. I used to skate, yeah. Yeah, I did. I used to be able to do kickflips.
I say when I first saw you in here, I'm like, yeah, he's a skater or a punk rocker at some point. Excuse me. Natalie says, would you declare this prayer over yourself? In Jesus' name, rebuke any incubus demon and command it to the pit of hell. Plead the blood of Jesus and declare freedom over your mind, body, spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much for that.
Yes.
And, okay, Lady Warrior asked, do you plan on staying clean, moving forward, and then maybe in the future helping other victims through their trauma as well?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And as I learn things, I go by the each one, teach one thing. If I learn something that helps me and another survivor I'm speaking with might say, oh, well, or a survivor of any type of trauma might ask me and they might benefit from what I learned. So I teach them.
That's a good point there. Ray Marie says, will you try to avoid the news when the Diddy trial happens this year?
I can't really answer that. I've been informed by,
right.
Yeah. So
yeah, guys, anything towards that, he can't answer at this point in time with or without being involved at this minute. It's just by his advice of his attorney. So. Samuel says, will you be testifying in court again, guys? Right now, he can't answer on any involvement for that. So, okay. Welshie Gold says, would you advise schools and children's services what to be wary of, other than just the norm or just the usual? Talking about MK Ultra. So, I'm guessing if there's any involvement or if it's making its way into schools too.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Wow.
The teachers. I mean, the guidance counselors, they're looking. My thing is it's like they're trying to diagnose too much,
right?
And quick to diagnose somebody with something that they really don't have.
Okay, so we got what? Are you currently getting any help now, mentally or physically, at this point in time?
Yes. I do have a psychiatrist, and I have a therapist. So.
Do you know if you were given an unalive switch? So, I guess if anything hit the fan, would you be able to take yourself out to, or in their best interest? I guess.
I would never give in to that. I mean, the thought is, obviously,
right.
But it's reacting to the thought. What do I do? No, I'm not going to do that. What am I going to benefit from that?
So in other words, they can plant the seed, but you still have enough control over yourself to make the final decision to act on.
Well, deprogramming. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. See, misinformation asks, please go on about the reptilians and viral.
I didn't really talk about that, honestly.
Okay. Yeah, we will save that for the next one, guys.
There's too much with MK Ultra and stuff. I mean, the rabbit hole goes deep. It goes very, very, very deep.
Gotcha.
And all I can suggest is you got to be careful with the rabbit hole, because you could fall into the rabbit hole, and that's why I'm not co-signing on anything. If somebody contacts me and says, well, I need you to co-sign for me this, that, no.
Yeah, anymore, there's too much risk doing any of that, It's just crazy. It's not worth putting your name out for anybody, and it can tear you down. I tell you, I mean, you get different things that can happen where all of a sudden you've got a credit card being used in another state.
Well,
You've never
I had
been in,
my
so-
identity. I had my identity stolen. You know, and some other things along with it. That is it's pretty horrible.
Right. Well, what was up with the hearing test and the creative, intelligent kids?
Oh, well, I remember hooked on phonics as a child. And I still have,
Sorry.
I get ear ringing sometimes. What does this say? What would you say to survivors if they are silent and suffering?
That's a good question.
Well, you know, it's easier said than done to get like what I'm doing right now. It's hard, you know, to talk about, you know, being a survivor of this type of stuff, especially being a male and, you know, understanding that other males had their way with you. And then the questioning your own, you know, sexuality and everything that comes with it. It's a timing thing.
It's like you get piggybacked with trauma that stays on you the rest of your life, and you had absolutely were not at any fault for any of that. You know, it's
Mike,
horrible that you or anybody has had to go through that, or will ever have to go through that again. Cause and effect asked.
I just wanted to read Debbie's comments. Y'all don't understand MKUltra at all. This attack is exact reason other survivors never tell. Just to respond to you, Debbie, I think we had a wave of trolls that came in here. So I don't think that our family that's on the channel is really the ones that were pushing all this narrative. It seemed like the numbers went from 60 something to 80 something almost people at one time, and then as I can see, they went back down again. So I think they're gone. I had to you know, bop a couple of them just because, you know, I don't know what the intent was, but like someone else has said, we're here to listen and, you know, with the intent on trying to help these children. So if this man can tell us something that can help these children, then fine. You know, if not, you know, whether anyone believes him or doesn't believe him, that's up to them. But I don't want you to feel attacked or anything. I just feel like we did have a wave of trolls that came in, and they were upsetting the chat, the side chat for a minute, but it looks like they're pretty much gone because it's kind of slowed down a little bit. So I see a couple that might still be here, but you know, keep it copacetic and you'll be all right. Other than that, don't make me have to, you know, bop you out of here.
Right. If you think he a fraud, I mean, everybody was saying Misha's a fraud, and I'm not here for fraud or no fraud. I'm just listening to the stories and trying to get a understanding on how to help the kids. So I know one thing: if he's telling us somebody's story or whatever he's saying, I got some information from. Like we watched another video, and I said I never thought of that. So there's some things that he's saying, even though he might be a fraud or not. There's a lot of things he's saying that helping me, so to speak. So yeah, so he need a deprogram more than a deprogrammer more than a psychiatrist. All right, should we continue or you finish? You muted.
We can go. We can keep going. That's all I wanted to say. I just didn't want Debbie to feel like somebody was attacking her. I don't think it was our family. I think it was just the people that came in. It looked to seem like most of them are gone. So
but Debbie knows she got some problems. She can come see me, and we can handle it, girl. This is bringing one cat. Here we go.
Rocco, are you able to support your family? And if so, is it something that keeps you safe?
It's probably a good thing my kids don't live with me. they, like I said, you know, this stuff caused me, I was supposed to get married, I believe it was last May. And, you know, I started getting really hateful. That's when that started. And then we were going to work it out again. And then all this stuff came out, and that was it. Like, she was done. She was done. She was done. But we're friends now. And,
yeah, I mean, that's a good place to get to. I mean, even though you may go through hell in the beginning, if you can end up in a place that you're both at peace with each other, especially if you're raising a kid together, that makes all the difference, you know? So Q says, question, I'm so confused. Will Diddy being in jail reveal something to the general population, if he's a demon, etc., or will it never be a physical manifestation?
Hey,
well,
Michelle.
I mean, he is into all that occult stuff. So, you know, and honestly, is that really Diddy inside?
Right.
Or
Yeah, I've heard a little bit about that too. Yeah.
Or is that his?
Well, and too, a lot of people are thinking that he doesn't look the same, but a lot of folks, if you believe that, that's fine. But if you
Absolutely, I think Jay-Z is one of the biggest pigs on the planet. Absolutely.
You heard that? I was looking at the
you were ahead of me on that one. No, I was saying,
all right,
as far as go ahead.
Oh man,
I've got some lovely comments that I just want to read because we've done all the questions.
Gotcha.
So Michelle is saying, what an amazing person you are, Rocco. I hope that one day all of your altars go away. You can really do some good in this world. Your little girls are lucky you are your dad. And you've already spoke about government call, so I'll go on to the next one. Danny Henderson, a person like Rocco with such horrific traumas has to be careful not to get triggered, as that can awaken other altars programmed into him. It's such a deep, delicate subject, and he's doing amazing. Wow.
Thank you.
Really funny.
Definitely, you're funny.
So we've gone through all the questions, Rocco. Appreciate you spending all this time with us. Is there anything you would like to say in conclusion to the viewers?
I thank everybody for the wonderful comments.
Bird.
You know, I keep you all in my prayers. Sean, thank you for having me on. Yeah, I appreciate the time and being able to get my story out there.
Yeah, you did great, guy, and I appreciate you you know, being so forthcoming and allowing us to share, you sharing this with us and everything. Because again, the more that we hear, the more that we see, the more people will do, so it doesn't happen again. You know.
Hey, that's all that. Yeah, I just want this stuff to end. You know, I'm so tired of it. It's like
too many kids get hurt, man, and too many hurt kids leave hurt adults, and that's a hard way to live. So.
But I mean, it was like I was listening to a Biggie song the other day, and I heard him say something about it. I'm like, wait a minute, what? You know, like, you know,
yeah, we heard a different story back then, even though it's the same song now, you know.
You know, but it's like wow, it's like, you know, the things that come, you know, as time goes on. But yeah.
Well, I got a crazy one for you, and this one, and you can answer this very well, I'm sure. What do you think Tupac and Biggie, Fat Joe, some of the icons that have already left here, what do you think they would think of Diddy's mess and Jay-Z's mess? How do you think they would see it?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that. I mean, you know, the thing about it is no matter what, in order to get to the top, you basically got to do whatever no matter what, it seems in the industry, something to do with selling the soul, or, you know.
Yeah, very true, man. Very true.
So it's, I don't know. I don't know. Well, like I said, it's not just celebrities that are doing it. This is like, I think, a worldly disease, to be honest.
Oh, it's definitely not isolated in any one spot. It's equally shared all over the world.
Yeah, I mean, politicians, all these people.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true. Mr. Atwood, what are we doing next, sir?
Yeah, so just Rocco, we salute your bravery speaking out. And, you know, God bless you, brother. And with your girls and everything else, just spend that time in nature and with your family and positive influences on you, and you're going to do great.
Well, are you aware of the stream we have coming next, Sean?
We'll let Rocco go, and then we can close the show and tell the viewers what we've got coming next.
Okay.
All right, Rocco, you take care, my friend.
All right. See you guys later.
See you, buddy. I'll
All
talk to you
cheers.
in a bit.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Wow, Rocco is as real as it gets, folks. You can just see the trauma on his face, his mannerisms, the way he phrases his sentences, and you can see he's just really been through it, and he's as real as it gets, and he just spoke straight from the heart. And in the next few days, I'll tell you what we've got coming up now. We have got 𝗗𝗢𝗡𝗞𝗦 on.
Man, I can't wait to see what kind of numbers he get on Courtney Burgess. I don't even want to see no Courtney stuff. You know, where's Star? Y'all see Star? There she go. You's a shining star. Wow. Between Sean and like the rest of my chat, you know, some people are saying that they don't believe him. I was hoping that some of the people that y'all was calling trolls, like Shalomit, Salma, I did a search on the person's name, but just a lot of videos came up. I don't know what y'all think.
I mean, like I said, you know, there's clearly some type of trauma. Something has happened, whether everything is correct or everything is incorrect, you know, whether his intention is to just make money and tell this story to make money or to actually help the children. I mean, we're gathering as much information as we need to have. So, you know, if there was one piece of information that he gave that was true, then, you know, we gained something from it. That's the way I see it. You know, how he treats his children, or, you know, if his kids like him, or if he stays in his apartment and he never got married and women don't like him, that's none of our business. That's, you know, we're looking for these missing kids and these kids that are being abused.